think testament to the Commonwealth Secretariat's commitment to young people across the Commonwealth family, I think is genuinely reflected within the notion that I can honestly say that if it was Don McKinnon standing here, he would have expressed the same sentiment and feeling. It's not a thought, it's not a political aside or throwaway comment, it is a genuinely held one. And I think it actually takes us from our past, and we're so rich in history within our surroundings, to accept that it is only by our history we arrive at our present. And I think for many, they underestimate those who have coached me to the particular point on which I stand before you here today. During the Commonwealth Games, of which I was an ambassador, there was an unacceptable experience of young people on the streets of this Commonwealth member nation. I would like to reinforce that in what I'm trying to convey and share with you. Many of you have heard me either over-enthusiastically, sometimes too forcefully, but at the same time possibly driven in the wish to think that something that I believed could be prevented was now sadly too much a part of everyday life. During the Commonwealth Games at that time, I was charged with travelling the Commonwealth to convince that by their support we would improve their quality of life. Professionally, socially and culturally, I was duty-bound to continue and ensure that was delivered. Like all things, within the best will in the world, things do not happen as you would wish. But I remember coming here on my first visit, and I thought if selections like this, or if, as Lord Moynihan will recognise, doping inquiries are like this, I'd hate to have been in the dock. But I remember then, Don McKinnon's predecessor, giving and providing a listening ear, and he heard what I said. He just listened, he heard. And since 1997, and to have presented at the 1997 Building the Nation Through Sport at Chobham in Edinburgh, I realised that there was a job of work to do. We presented what the Commonwealth asked me to do on behalf of what was then Manchester 2002's Commonwealth Games bid. I'm an impatient individual, but it was to be this year within the present that we were to be in Southern Africa, Namibia, to deliver what I had indicated was possible back in 1997. Now, I'm not sure that lots of people who make things happen, if that's a suitable enough time by way of expectation. But all I can say to you is, if that's by way of expectation, I could have won another 5 world titles and then rested on my laurels. But what it did show me was that most things you want to do will always be challenged. I've known that since the age of 7. Whether by what you look like, where you come from, or what you might just be wanting to do. What we found in Southern Africa, and I would like to share this with you, all that the Youth Charter has learned was from those trips I made on as an ambassador, because it is the developing countries who do I think, extraordinary work, who make something out of nothing, that use sporting arts in its truest form of character. It is, and many have said, something that needs money. Well, it was in the Caribbean and Africa in particular, I realised that there wasn't much money. But I would take that inspiration and thought with all the money here, within that Commonwealth framework and the Millennium Development Goals global framework, we could do something. Well, we delivered that in Namibia, and the Social Coach Workshop was delivered, and it was on the proudest moments that would eclipse anything sportingly. Africans were able to deliver their own programme, their own workshop, with a bit of support. That was all. The challenge is what they do with that enthusiasm. And that is why I felt this report was an important document, because everyone says the Youth Charter is a Moss side project. That's not true, ladies and gentlemen. You know that, because I've haggled you enough in trying to expound the fact that that is not the case. But hey, the truth, they say, sets you free. So I was looking to remove a few shackles that were certainly frustrating me, but it was by way of thanking you for assisting me. I think upon reflection, and I think it was Don McKinnon's visit to the powerhouse, and I think it was just his very open way of engaging with those young people. And believe me, just for them to say the Secretary General had taken the time to visit them in Moss Side, you know, considered Gunchester and Ganchester, to engage them in a very real and genuine debate, was a telling moment in what was simply about saving lives. Don McKinnon will tell you, Mr. Raymond Smith, that there was a young 10-year-old girl in nice class, so well decked out, and she let loose over 2 minutes so much aggression. It shocked me, it shocked him, but as he said, got a lot of energy, hasn't she? We need to use it. Well, all I can say is, this isn't difficult. I don't understand why this has been a hard fight. Because it is so easy. We had it, so why shouldn't they? Why should the youth of the Commonwealth not have the chance, through sport and the arts, to develop in life, not achieve medals, to develop in life? The present is what you will receive in the report, and it concludes what I felt should be a legacy of any games. From the East End of Manchester, we have an Olympic Games in the East End of London. My mother has bars in front of her door and her window. That's not acceptable. In the East End of Glasgow, there will be a Commonwealth Games for 2014. Everybody uses regeneration to secure the Games. I would like to see regeneration to engage the youth, motivate the youth and inspire them. It's not a volunteer programme, that's too late in the day. It has a now, a must, and an immediate vaccine effect. The antidote is within the wider context. So the report is that, and I don't want to dwell too much more, other than to say that the future is in your hands. It is not, and could never be a one-man band, as many people would wish to expound by way of reference to me. But as the famous Muhammad Ali said, me, we. It cannot be one person. It's impossible. It's a team effort. It's a collective effort. And anyone that would be that naive to actually believe that without that young lady, she is her own champion. She came from social disaffection. So when Rhys Jones was shot dead in Croxton, I will share it was the lowest point in my existence to date, because he was coming back from a football match, football training. Anybody who thinks that's acceptable in a modern day 21st century society that is 8th richest in the world, it is not. I don't understand it, I never will understand it. But I will say this to you. Next year we will produce 6 reports. As many have said, get your head down. Well, I did that at school, but at 6'4" it's a little bit harder. But I'm doing my homework to inform people like Lord Moynihan, Mike Brace. There are people here who I hope they will listen to, and they will, I hope and pray, respond to. This is the single biggest issue that I think we face by way of what the future might look like. There are 2 others from the potential University of Crime, and if I didn't make reference to them, it would, by way of just relieving me the view that I'm a one-off. Speak to Carlton and Kelly. They were the Class 3 potential misfits that weren't going to achieve much. Carlton now defends them in court. He's not in court by himself. And he still plays football, and I now hear he still scouts. And Kelly I bumped into in the City of London, and Guy, if I wasn't a board member at Market Forum, I'd never bumped into 30 years' worth of history. It's all there. If you wish to do it, it can be done. I do not believe that within a Commonwealth family that we can afford to ignore what has been shared with you. You will be able to take the message back, and as I say to you, my invested interest is 14 years of age, 6 foot, wears my training shoes, and I have to go in his wardrobe to look for my clothes. He has great sporting ability, but he was very disaffected. Very disaffected. He's as old as this effort, and we could have lost him to the non-effort. So yes, I will still be committed. And if it's good for me, it's good for everybody else's children. Inclusion, cohesion, citizenship, rights, responsibility. And I believe we can rebalance the imbalance. That's all it's about. That's all it was ever about. And I implore you to please take that message back, and hopefully we can make the collective effort, make an impact where it matters most. Also left for me is to commend this report to you. It is a genuine reflecting of a genuine effort to simply provide evidence of our efforts. Legacy sometimes takes time, I've learned. Patience is golden, but I believe the race can be won. This opportunity is always to present a few scrolls. The scrolls have been the benchmark, the sportsmen and women who gave credibility to the Charter, who invariably 90% of Britain's winners have come from socio-economically deprived backgrounds, and I'd like to present some scrolls this evening because they exist all over the family of the Commonwealth. And I think it just recognises the people who make a difference when sometimes I believe they're below the radar and they deserve to be lifted just above the radar. Last year, when we launched the Youth Charter 12 report at the House of Lords, I named a number of awards that would inspire what will hopefully be a number of social bursaries. These will respond to, and as a result of our future efforts, raise money to inspire future leaders that will make a difference in the world. It is something I'm hoping the Commonwealth will adopt. And there is a youth chopper, one might be interested to know. And I think, yet again, and Deputy Secretary General, could you convey our sincere thanks that the youth now have a platform as senior stakeholders in the future of the Commonwealth, and I know that they will hopefully be responded to. The Gordon Richards Award is the reason I'm here. Gordon Richards' post-war work with the disaffected is the reason that in 1985, when he died, he handed me over a mantle. I was not able to realise then, but I do now know the significance and importance. Jim Fox was his protege. Jim is a trustee of the Youth Charter, was, I think, a sporting hero of the post-war potential bad boy made good. He's not too well of late. He sends his best wishes, or he would have been here to make that presentation. And I think this year it has always gone to a man who would have reflected those qualities. This man met me in Moss Side when I was ambassadorially on the streets with a young, somewhat rough diamond in an athlete called Darren Campbell. He went on to Olympic and Commonwealth success and now puts back what he feels where he feels appropriate. However, it was a certain John Kennedy who listened to me, and it's interesting that civil engineers were the social engineers. They were not just about rebuilding communities, they were about rebuilding people. John Kennedy has been a very wise sage throughout the journey and has been everywhere, like Dame Mary Glenn Haig, who's been everywhere with me. So when people have thought it's about me, there have been one on either side, one behind me, one in front of me. So I don't know how that could be me, but as I said before, without John, we would not be here today. I know he will dislike me immensely for doing this to him, but Sir John Kennedy is this year's recipient of the Gordon Richards Award. Mr. Kennedy. See, he won't like this at all, but these invisible people who leave me to take the heat are now going to take a bit of heat themselves. I know you won't mind me saying this. He said, I asked him for the first project in Moss Side when all was chaos. And he said I was the first person who didn't look like him at 6'4", and he couldn't very well say no. It was a wonderful relationship, and he has been an exceptional wise sage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.